Hello and welcome to Howzzat. With me is Vijay Lokapally, my friend and colleague. Good morning, Vijay. It was a good win for Sunrisers Hyderabad last night in IPL.
Yes, very good win, and I'm sure Hyderabad would be very happy with the performance of the youngsters, especially. CSK, they have problems increasing with every game, but Hyderabad should be happy.
Except, of course, there will be some doubts about Bhuvaneshwar Kumar's fitness now that he pulled out after 3.1 overs and was not able to complete his fourth over. But we shall talk about that later. But this is the time to celebrate two youngsters who played really well, very sensibly, very mature approach to the innings after being put in a spot of bother. 69 for 4 and then pulling the side out of trouble's way. Priyam, Garg and Abhishek Sharma, I think we should applaud their performance for last night.
Yeah, they need to be applauded, no doubt about that. And they have come up the hard way and they've got the right mentors. If you see, Abhishek is being groomed by Yuvraj Singh. I was talking to Yuvraj and he talks very highly of Abhishek. He says he is a batsman for the future. Just watch out. He has all the very good timing of the ball, just like Yuvraj used to do. And in case of Garg, you can see Rajaraman, the stamp of Rahul Dravid. He's been groomed at the NCA, and he has the right temperament to perform. So these two, like you said, yes, need to be celebrated.
At 69 for 4, I was wondering what Priyam Garg would be thinking. He was involved in a run out that saw the end of Kane Williamson, very cheap. In fact, yesterday, the three superstars of Sunrisers Hyderabad from overseas, David Warner, Johnny Bairstow, and Kane Williamson, contributed a total of 37 runs. And Priyam Garg would have been wondering what he would have to face when he went back after Kane Williamson got run out. We got to see an extreme reaction from Kane Williamson, extreme by his standard, somebody who's more like a monk. We did get to see a reaction from him last night on television, and Priyam Garg did well for himself not to get to the dressing room before the end of the 20 overs.
In fact, Williamson was Williamson once he went back to the dressing room because he welcomed Priyam when he returned to the dressing room with a lovely comment that well played, don't worry. So that's what a senior is supposed to do. And yes, such things happen. Maybe we can always sit back and say Priyam should have shown better cricket acumen by sacrificing his wicket. But I think the run out also put a lot of pressure on him and made him far more responsible when he resumed his batting after Williamson had left the ground, because he was joined by Abhishek and Rajaraman. It's very good to know that they're very good friends off the field.
It was terrific to watch them bat together. They complemented each other. Priyam Garg took his time to find his moorings after that dismissal, but both of them soaked in the pressure extremely well, Vijay. I was particularly impressed by how they mentally were strong, did not allow the situation to get the better of them. Right behind the stumps was Mahendra Singh Dhoni, no less a captain than Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And then he tried everything he could to dislodge this pair, but their stand of 77 at 11 runs and over got Hyderabad back into the game.
Hyderabad back into the game, definitely. But I think that's the best thing I like about this generation of cricketers. In fact, this very generation where they know they are up against a lot of challenges and how they respond to it. Sometimes they could be failures, but generally they are up to it. So in case of Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma, they knew this was going to be a very difficult task for them. But see how beautifully they went about it. It speaks for the fact, it speaks for their grooming and also the excellent first-class cricket structure, which has now accommodated them. So both of them have been playing first-class cricket for a couple of seasons, Rajaraman.
I think when you earn the respect of the opposition, you have done well for yourself. Of course, respect of the teammates, respect of the coaching staff is very important. But when you earn the respect of the opposition, you have done really well for yourself. Let's watch what Stephen Fleming has to say about these two youngsters and their partnership.
Yep, sat through the meeting. We talked about them, and there was all the bowlers had the information and footage on them, and quite a lot of detail was done on them. They played well, and that's youth for you. Come out and attack. I thought we got a bit sloppy from over number 15 onwards, which allowed them a bit of momentum. I think we could have bowled better to them, but the ball striking was very good, and that enabled them to get a good score.
Stephen Fleming, of course, very generous in his comments on Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma. Very crucial for Sunrisers Hyderabad that his youngsters got together and played that knock. What I also liked, Vijay, was the fact that they took very few risks. They played a very, very calculated knock. They played percentage cricket. They did not try to overreach themselves. They did not try to play like superstar, but played what cricket they knew, and that was good enough for them last night.
Yes, and the very fact that they have grown up together. You know, they have been playing junior grade cricket for a long, long time. And the very fact that, like I said, they're very good friends. So these mid-pitch conferences, whenever they would have conversed, they would have exchanged their ideas, that would have helped, because if you have a good understanding with your batting partner, I'm sure things easen up. And in Priyam's case, he showed that he has the best temperament among the youngsters. And Abhishek, Rajaraman, I'm telling you, as Yuvraj has been saying, he is going to be one fabulous batsman to watch.
You mentioned Yuvraj Singh a couple of times, Vijay. You also mentioned Rahul Dravid. Let's now watch Gursharan Singh, a former India cricketer and coach. He's had a role to play in their evolution.
69 पे 4 के बाद जो रिकवरी की सनराइजर हैदराबाद ने बहुत ही काबिल तारीफ है, और इसका पूरा श्रेय जाता है प्रियम गर्ग और अभिषेक शर्मा को, जिन्होंने बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त बैटिंग की। प्रियम गर्ग के बारे में बात करना चाहूँगा। वो तो बहुत ही, मुझे लगता है वो तो भविष्य हैं हिंदुस्तान का। मैंने उनको अंडर 16 कैंप में देखा था, इंडिया अंडर 16 धर्मशाला में 2015 में। उस टाइम जब वो आए थे तभी से लग रहा था कि इनमें वो बात है कि ये बहुत आगे जा सकते हैं। तो उधर कैंप में हमने देखा, एक वो जब बैटिंग करते फास्ट बॉलर्स को, उनका स्क्वायर लेग की तरफ पैर जा रहा था पिछला वाला, तो उस पर थोड़ा काम किया, और उसके बाद भी उसने ज़रूर बहुत मेहनत की होगी। प्लस रणजी ट्रॉफ़ी में पहले सीज़न में ही 800 रन बनाना बहुत ही बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे लाल बॉल है, एसजी टेस्ट की, सर्दियों में मैचेस होते हैं, बॉल खूब हिलता है, और हमारी कॉम्पिटिटिव, हमारी जो डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट है बहुत ही टफ़ है, उसमें 800 रन बनाना बहुत ही काबिल तारीफ़ है। और मुझे यही लगता है कि बहुत ही निकट भविष्य में ये हिंदुस्तान के लिए खेलेंगे। और दूसरा लड़का अभिषेक शर्मा, ये भी बहुत ही यूटिलिटी प्लेयर है और एक्सेप्शनल प्लेयर मेरे लिए। मैं ये समझता हूँ कि ये आइडियल रहेंगे T20 और वनडे क्रिकेट के लिए, हिंदुस्तान के लिए। जैसी बैटिंग की उन्होंने, ये भी बहुत ही फेयरलेस खिलाड़ी हैं। और मैंने देखा आजकल के यंगस्टर जितने भी, वो डरते नहीं हैं शॉटें खेलने से, और वो किसी की रेपुटेशन से भी घबराते नहीं, कौन बॉलिंग कर रहा है, कौन बैटिंग कर रहा है सामने। तो ये बहुत ही अच्छा साइन है हमारा हिंदुस्तान की क्रिकेट के लिए, और मैं यही देखता रहूँगा कि आगे जाके और भी यंगस्टर अच्छा करते रहें।
Thank you, Gush. It is nice to be able to welcome you onto Howzzat with that comment. It is time that we now hear what David Warner had to say about Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma and the kind of backing he has given them. I think these lads have blossomed under David Warner, given them the freedom to play like the way they want to.
I just said to him, go out there and bat. Don't worry about the scoreboard. Bat the 20 overs. Get as many runs as you can. You get out, you get out. It's a game of cricket at the end of the day. You know, we pride ourselves in the top order trying to score as many runs as we can, and the middle order to finish off. But today, the middle order went out there, executed their plans, and they got us a great total. You give youngsters almost 11 overs to bat, you know they're going to get some time out in the middle. So the hardest thing is if you're playing a tournament where you're only getting 3 or 4 overs to have a hit, it's very difficult to get any momentum. So it's going to be difficult to find, the boundaries when you're not getting too much game exposure. Hopefully this here shows these kids what they're capable of. They went out there, executed their skill. They got some time in the middle. Now we know what they're capable of. We lost early wickets, and those guys come in to play the way they did. I've said this before in my press conferences that I've told these young kids to go out there, play the way that they want to play with freedom, take the scoreboard out of the equation and back yourselves. And tonight we saw a fantastic effort by two youngsters there that got us to a great total, a fantastic total. They held their nerve, backed their ability, and I couldn't be any prouder of those two guys.
When this partnership for the 5th wicket was on, and then Hyderabad kicked on to 164, did you spot some kind of stress in Mahendra Singh Dhoni's eyes for the first time in those final 4 overs?
Well, I didn't really, did you? Because I don't think Dhoni was really stressed. He knew it was going to be tough because without Suresh Raina, the batting is not looking as formidable as it used to be. And they're definitely missing Raina, no doubt about that. Dhoni, of course, he's been through such stages all through his career, and he is under scrutiny now that he has retired from international cricket. And every time he walks out, his fans want him to perform because that's what MS Dhoni is. And last night, yes, I was feeling a little sorry for him because he was left alone, trying so much. But did you really feel any stress?
I thought in the final 4 overs, when the young boys were getting away with plenty of runs, he was a little tense because he knew that the match was perhaps slipping away. Of course, Chennai Super Kings has the batting, but it needed Faf du Plessis to play that big knock today. Given the fact that Dhoni himself has not been in the best of form, given the fact that Ambati Rayudu was only coming back after injury, missing out on a couple of games, it was going to be important for Faf du Plessis to play that big knock. And then since that didn't happen, Chennai Super Kings always had its back to the wall.
Yes, it was bound to be. Once the team did not get a fabulous start, which was very, very, very important last night, they have come in with a new opening pair. Ambati Rayudu, if you notice, we can talk about it, Rajaraman, the way he got out. That spell was especially, by Natarajan. So I would say it was a combination of good bowling by Hyderabad and then good batting by these two youngsters. So Chennai Super Kings, obviously, they have a lot of things to sort out. But last night, yes, Dhoni had a role to play. If he did not, maybe I think fans can expect that he is looking good for the next game.
There was only one stand worthy of attention during the Chennai Super Kings kick chase, and it was Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Ravindra Jadeja. They were caught by the fact that they had to balance the ship first before taking the assault to the rival camp. I think they put it off too late, Vijay.
Yeah, they took time to settle down. I mean, if you see, Dhoni was not really enjoying the surface because the ball was at times stopping. Jadeja did his best, but he was taken out beautifully. That was a well-planned dismissal, although he had hit 6 of the previous ball. But it was too much to expect them to straight away start hitting because the bowlers were doing well. They were bowling really good length. So it was bound to be difficult for these two very experienced batsmen. And the fact that they had nobody to back them in the late middle order and the utter failure of Kedar Jadhav, I think must be a point of worry.
It will be interesting to see what Stephen Fleming said when he was asked a question about why Kedar Jadhav batted ahead of Mahendra Singh Dhoni.
What was the thought process behind sending Kedar Jadhav ahead of Dhoni today?
Really?
What was the thought process behind sending Kedar Jadhav ahead of Dhoni today?
Yeah, I said really. That's a question. Well, he's our number 4. Dhoni primarily is a middle to back end player. Kedar Jadhav is our number 4. He plays dual roles where if we get a good start, he might move down and let Dhoni up. But when you're losing early wickets, then your number 4 batsman goes in. So you can't keep... No, I'll stop there.
The Hyderabad bowlers, they have done really well defending in totals. I think there's been just one occasion where they did not have a good time in trying to defend a total this season. But Warner's decision to bat first proved right. And then the bowlers did their bit to stop Chennai Super Kings from getting to 165. Rashid Khan, of course, pick of the bowlers, did not give anything away, did not have too many wickets to show. In fact, he has none. But he was quite the trump card that Hyderabad had, along with Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Yes, Bhuvneshwar got an early breakthrough, and I think I wouldn't be surprised, Rajaraman, if this Rashid Khan turns out to be the bowler of the tournament. I mean, look at such a jolly good fellow on the field. He's always smiling. He's always, I mean, he's not worried about getting slogged. And yes, he varies his pace. He's looking, I mean, it's very essential. Last night I heard him saying that he looks at the economy rate also, but he's also one of the few bowlers who looks to take wickets. And Natarajan, I mean, he seems to be improving with every ball, every match. So I think Hyderabad has a very compact bowling attack.
Let's watch what David Warner has to say about Natarajan. He's been around for a couple of seasons, but this is the time in 2020 when everything else seems to be going wrong. You have discovered a bowler who can bowl really well at the death, and Hyderabad pleased for that. Let's watch what David Warner has to say about Natarajan.
Yeah, I think with you know, in the warm-up games, he executed well. We're looking for a death bowler, another death bowler, and he fitted that mould. He's been capable of that before, but last year I think they obviously went a different setup. Obviously, Kane was in charge, Tom Moody was coach, and they felt that the other guys probably fitted their roles better. And obviously this year, different kind of wicket, a little bit faster. He's been bowling really well, and we back him and support him. And you know, he executed very well. When I need him to come on and bowl what we need to and expect of him, he delivers, and I'm really proud of him.
You would expect the captain to be glowing like this, Vijay, but it was also heartening to watch Rashid Khan speak yesterday very, very well about Abdul Samad. Here is a youngster who was forced to bowl the final over of the inning against the legendary Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and Sam Curran, who can hit the ball really hard. And he had only a few runs to defend, bowled really well. There was one wide to begin with, and then there was one blistering shot past his hand by Mahendra Singh Dhoni. But overall, he was in control. And no wonder Rashid Khan spoke so well about Abdul Samad.
Abdul Samad, again, a very young talent, a very large-hearted bowler. And to me, Rajaraman, the very crucial, very critical moment of that over was that medium pace which he bowled. I mean, it certainly caught Dhoni by surprise. He must have been expecting the normal leg spin or maybe a googly or whatever. But he let the ball rip, and that's if you remember, Dhoni couldn't connect. So that, I think, was a very critical moment. That moment decided that the match was going Sunrisers' way, because otherwise, Dhoni, the way he was going, I wouldn't have been surprised, because Mr. Gavaskar was expecting Dhoni to explode, and he did. But that one ball, it took the sting away from the chase.
It is always heartening, Vijay, to see youngsters perform. And this has been an IPL where a lot of youngsters have done really well for themselves and the team. There were three of them who performed well for Hyderabad last night. The two batsmen and then Abdul Samad, soaking in the pressure and dealing with it. I particularly look at how these young players take on pressure. And like you said, Rahul Dravid has perhaps taught them the art of soaking in the pressure.
Yeah, I'm enjoying these youngsters as you are, as we all are. But I hats off to MS Dhoni. I mean, he doesn't look out of the place. He may have struggled last night, but look how involved he is, how he's shepherding his team, despite the fact that he doesn't have the best of combination available. So I'm enjoying MS Dhoni's maybe the last IPL.
Vijay, he was not the only one struggling. If he were struggling, then we could put it down to age. My own opinion is that we got to see someone like Mohammad Khalil and then even Bhuvneshwar Kumar pull up injured. My worries about fast bowlers getting injured or not completing their quota of 4 overs is coming true. I'm a little worried for more bowlers.
Oh yes, I remember during one of the early shows when you talked about the fitness being the main issue, and whether the bowlers will be able to go flat out because they had been out of practice. COVID had kept most of them home. No, just the gym work doesn't help you. So you've been proved absolutely right when it comes to assessing the fact that these bowlers would struggle to deliver.
Vijay, will move on to tonight's matches. There are two of them. In fact, the first double header of the season, as they call it. You have got Royal Challengers Bangalore against Rajasthan Royals. That's at the larger ground in Abu Dhabi. And then you've got Delhi Capitals against Kolkata Knight Riders in the smaller ground at Sharjah. That is going to be one big game, Vijay. Smaller ground, but a big game indeed.
Yes, smaller ground, big game, yes. And again, pressure on the bowlers. And as far as RCB and Rajasthan concerned, it's going to be the batsman's game. You will have to look to set a big total because the pitch looks good there. And small ground, yes, spectators can enjoy, audience can enjoy watching on television some a flurry of sixes.
But Rajasthan Royals and Royal Challengers Bangalore, that will be an interesting game too, Vijay.
By now, you have got the feel of the playing conditions, and it's the best time for somebody to take charge in whichever team and show the way for the remaining games.
I will see you tomorrow morning, Vijay, and where we will discuss both these games that are being played today. Will be interesting to see what we've got to say tomorrow. But now we shall leave the viewers with the thoughts of Abhishek Sharma, Priyam Garg, and Abdul Samad. Wonderful youngsters with bright futures.
Yes, Rajaraman, happy watching to everyone.